I've been doing some rust repair on this old 53 Chevy cab here. I noticed I've got a couple of dings in the roof. There's a fairly decent sized one right there, I don't know if you can see it, and a smaller one on this side. So I'm going to attempt to straighten them out the best I can. We'll see how that goes. This is proving incredibly difficult to film. Really doesn't show up very well on the camera, even though I can see it clear as day. I don't know. Put a straight edge on there, and you can see there's quite a indentation in the roof. And when I go reach on the inside, if I can do this, you can see got a oil can type of situation here. I don't know if you can see that. Yes, no, whatever. So you say, oh my goodness, it needs a shrink. No, it doesn't. It just needs to be brought back into its original shape. So we'll get to hammering on it and you'll see what I mean here. Spray some wax and grease remover on here, so hopefully you can see the indentation a little better. Well, if you can, I don't know what to tell you. This is the best I can do here. Quite the oil can situation here, so we're gonna see if we can rectify that with some hammering and what have you. This is incredibly uncomfortable, so I hope you're going to enjoy this, because I'm not. key to any of this is just putting the metal back where it needs to be. It's not really stretched, it's just out of arrangement, I guess you could say. So I'm just using my slapper and my dolly on the inside, and I'm doing kind of a off dolly because all around this dent here there's kind of a ridge, and I'm just trying to push that ridge back into the center where the oil can is. And you can see it's a little soft here, but it pops in and out, and before it was popping in and then staying, and then you'd have to come on the inside and pop it back out. So we're already very, very close here to having this be a repaired dent, or at least a dent that's considerably improved over what it was. A low crown panel is always going to have a little bit of give to it, although I can see back here, which I don't know if that's going to show up on camera, but there's another ding back there, which isn't helping our cause at all. You got to think every panel as one whole plane here. It's not just an individual dent. You know, in this area, you know, this damage here is still pulling in a large portion of this roof, and it's affecting this area as well. So I'm going to see if I can maneuver my way in here and knock this one out as well. And here we're getting into the very lowest crown of the roof, so we've got to be pretty careful. All solid now. Doesn't pop in anymore. All we did is we just took all this metal and we put it back where it's supposed to be, or as close as we can get it. Really, that's a little low there. We could probably pop this out a little more. The reason I'm using a slapper on these flat panels is it just contacts a wider area, so it's serving the same purpose as using a regular body hammer, but you're just you have a larger contact patch with it. So because on these low crown panels, what you'll find with these types of shallow dents is there'll be a ridge kind of all the way around it, and if you can use a body hammer as well. But this does a cleaner job of kind of knocking that ridge down, and then I'm holding the dolly kind of off that ridge and just chasing the metal back in, as I said. So you see just how quickly that actually came out, and you know, there's no need for shrinking or anything like that. So sometimes you will have to do shrinks on something like this, but the key with this is you rough out all your damage first and you do your shrinking in your last step. So if I had just started trying to shrink this, I would have actually caused more damage because the metal, it wasn't dramatically stretched, it was just out of place. So anyways, that's kind of the theory there. You can see we've also got kind of a low spot over here, so I'm going to tackle that, and then we're going to call this roof repaired to the extent that I'm going to repair it anyways. You know, a little more fiddling and this roof will be ready for body work, I think. It's just certainly good enough. Not trying to perform any miracles today. Only miracle is trying to maneuver my way in and out of this cab here. That did roughed out. What was that, like 5 minutes? Possibly even less. So, like I said, we're kind of relying on spring action here. So, we're doing, I've got other videos on this, hammer and dolly techniques and stuff, but we're doing basically kind of a off dolly technique, whereas I'm holding this in the low area of the dent. You want a dolly with slightly more crown than the panel you're trying to rough out. And I'm just taking my slapper, and any dent is going to have a high spot around the perimeter. So I'm going off of that high spot, and I'm just slapping it down. And while I'm slapping it, I'm moving this ahead. And I'm pushing up with quite a bit of force on this as I'm doing that. So there's a lot going on here. But once you kind of get the hang of it, it's actually very simple. So I'm applying pressure here and then tapping down on that high spot, and that's bringing up the low spot back into its correct shape. So, and then there's still a few areas that are low or whatever, so I'll just actually use this as a hammer from the inside, and I'm just bumping it up very, you don't want to get too aggressive with this because you'll end up with a bunch of mountains and then you will have to shrink the panel. But if you do this correctly and with the right amount of force, and this is something that you just have to practice, but you know, I'm just using this and just bumping up those low spots. So pretty simple roof repair here, and this roof is actually looking pretty good now. It's pretty straight, not perfect, but certainly we got out about 90% of the damage, which is usually where you can go to your filler or whatever. So I see no reason to pursue this anymore for what I'm doing with the rest of this truck. If you haven't seen the series on this so far, you can go back and check out the other videos and kind of get what we're doing, but we're not painting this or anything, so we're just making it better than what it was. So I'd say that's a bit of an improvement. I just sprayed some wax and grease remover on there to kind of highlight that the dent is gone. Same thing over on this side. This side was just a small dent. Oh, hopefully you found that interesting or useful or useless or whatever. So I have actually got a older video of fixing an oil can on actually another 53 Chevy truck roof, and the video, I didn't really do a very good job putting it together, but I did the exact same thing as what I'm doing here. But I think in the video people kind of misunderstood because I was using the unispotter in the video around the outside edges, and the reason for that is it's a double walled panel, so I didn't have access back there, and then I never really showed too much of the hammering on the rest of the roof, so people thought I had fixed the whole roof with a unispotter, which I didn't. So I guess clear that up or whatever. And as with YouTube, everyone's an expert, so they got to tell you what you're doing wrong and whatever. The other thing with the other roof I was doing is someone had already tried to repair it, so there's extra damage there as well. So anyways, but this is another video on fixing an oil can roof without shrinking. So there you go. And this one was all in real time, so hopefully you get something out of that. I know people have been asking for real time stuff, so that's what you get, I guess. Thanks for watching. Just wanted to give a shout out to Matt and Jim over at Strong's Garage. They stopped by here a couple days ago. Jim just picked up probably what's the cleanest all original Model A coupe that I think I've ever seen. Personally, I think it's the perfect candidate to build a modern slicked over street rod with, but I guess those guys are planning on keeping it all original and putting it back on the road. So if you want to see that car, I highly recommend you head on over to their YouTube channel and check that out. They also got a really cool shop over there, and they work on some unbelievable cars. So if you haven't already, make sure you go check out their channel.